Hi everyone, I am Pranamago and today I'll be discussing about my topic that is intelligent RAM. Hope you all enjoy the video. So this will be the outline of my video. Firstly, I'll be talking about what do you actually mean by IRAM. Second, why do we need IRAM? Third, how an IRAM is constructed, that is the architecture of an IRAM. Fourth, advantages of IRAM, the disadvantages of IRAM, and lastly, real world applications of IRAM. So, I'll be telling you what an IRAM is. So yeah, so what exactly is IRAM? I in IRAM stands for intelligence. Intelligence in hardware stands for a microprocessor. RAM, as we all know, it's random access memory, which stands for memory. In conclusion, an IRAM merges both RAM and processor. Basically, the concept of IRAM is an intelligent microprocessor which controls the memory intelligently. That's the major concept behind IRAM. Let's move forward. So now I'll be talking about why we need IRAM. Facts. So I've jotted down some 3 or 4 facts about IRAM. Let us see one by one. So yeah, the gap between the performance of processors and RAM has been widening at 50% per year for 10 years. Let me tell you this, I have gathered all these facts by Google and they are mostly the truth. So yeah. Second, Moore's law. As we all know what is Moore's law, so I'll not be talking about Moore's law in this video. DRAM. DRAM is actually dynamic RAM, that basically means normal RAM. So DRAM have grown about 50% each generation. DRAMs are being made with more metal layers to accelerate the longer life. This basically means that DRAMs are, if they want to, what should I say? If they want to increase the memory of a processor, then DRAMs are made by adding more metal layers to accelerate the larger chips, so that they can hold more transistors, so that therefore increasing more memory. Lastly, the actual processor occupies only about 1/3 of the chip. The upcoming DRAM has enough capacity that programs and data sets can fit into a single chip. Basically, this also tells us about DRAM, which has enough capacity. The actual processor that we will be using in the DRAM occupies only 1/3 of the chip, and rest of it is empty. Let's go forward. Now the big concept. Basically, this tells us why do we need IRAM. So in the past, so little memory could fit onto a chip with the CPU that IRAMs were mainly considered as building blocks for multiprocessors. Basically, the main problem was that memory couldn't fit onto the CPU chips. That's why IRAMs were made. Okay, sounds interesting. So here we go. This is the most interesting slide so far. This is the difference between RAM and intelligent RAM. Let's start. RAM. When system is switched off, data is lost. When system is switched off, data is not lost as it has its own battery backup. This is the biggest difference, as when you turn off your PC or your laptop, all the data is lost. But in the case of IRAM, it has its own battery backup. That's why the data is still there. Second, battery card is not present. Obviously, RAM doesn't need a battery because it runs by the PC, but IRAM needs a battery because it has its own battery backup. Second, as I told you in the earlier slide, RAM is nothing but DRAM. So dynamic, D means dynamic. Dynamic means memory is flexible, but in the case of IRAM, memory is not flexible. Requirement of 6 transistors is a must for each memory cell. For RAM, oh, I'm sorry, for RAM, but requirement of 3 transistors is a must for each memory cell. Basically, uh, as we have discussed earlier, that RAM requires more space. Normal RAM requires more space. That is, we need 6 transistors in each memory cell. But IRAM requires very less space. That is, it only needs 3 transistors for each memory cell. This is a complete IRAM architecture. It's a bit technical, so I'll not be able to explain you. But in the further slides, I'll be telling you everything an IRAM consists. So, yep, let's move forward. Flowchart. So, an IRAM consists of 3 things, that is the vector processing, embedded DRAM, and serial input-output vector processing. Right. So yeah, here in this image, this is a simple flow diagram of an IRAM. Okay, let's start. Vector processing. So what does vector processing mean? Vector processing is a central processing unit that can perform the complete vector input in individual chips. That is, basically it calculates all the vector related issues in a complete individual instruction. Basically, it only needs one instruction to complete all vector processing. Second, embedded DRAM. During the fabrication, the memory chip is embedded into the microprocessor for producing IRAM. So yeah, like we talked before, an IRAM consists of a memory and a microprocessor. So this during the fabrication, as in when the IRAM is made and it's fabricated, the memory chip is embedded into the microprocessor. So the memory chip, that is the RAM, is already embedded into the microprocessor. Now, serial input and output vector processing. Elements of the vector are ordered properly so as to have successive addressing format of the memory. This is the reason why it is called serial. So basically, serial means one by one. It addresses each one of the problems one by one. So elements of the vector are ordered properly so as to have successive addressing format of the memory. Every problem has its own memory. So yeah, so it's a successive thing. That's why every problem is addressed one by one. That was all about IRAM architecture. So yes, now we'll be talking about advantages. So these are the pros. There are in totality 6 things which an IRAM does better than normal RAM. So the first one is higher bandwidth, second one is lower latency, third one is energy efficiency, fourth one is cost of production, board area, memory flexibility, and memory. So basically these 6 are the main reasons why IRAM is better than normal RAM. So yeah, higher bandwidth. What does higher bandwidth mean? Less burst length, due to which huge amount of data is transferred without any difficulty. It's very easy to. Bus is nothing but a board. Yeah. It's basically not a board. It's internal memory. That's it. That's what bus means. Lower latency. As latency means there is not much delay in the processes that we perform on computer. So latency means not much delay. Basically, lower latency means there will not be a delay in data transmission. So less multiplexing of addresses and less bus length also have less number of pins, therefore less delay. That is, multiplexing is less, bus length is short. So therefore the number of pins are also less, therefore the delay is less. So now third one, energy efficiency. IRAM doesn't need L2 cache memory, therefore energy efficiency is high. That is, a RAM needs L3 cache, but an IRAM doesn't need L2 cache. That's why energy efficiency is high. Now, cost of production. As the processor and the memory are fabricated on a single chip, and hence cost of production. As we all know, IRAM is the combination of a microprocessor and a memory. Memory, that means RAM. So the cost of production is low, as both of them Both the memory and the microprocessor are fabricated on a single chipset, hence this is cost effective. Board area. The utilization of board in the IC is very less as if it is packed in a single chipset. Therefore, the board area utilizes very less. Last, memory flexibility. Conventional design is the ability to adjust both the size and the width of RAM. So basically, the memory is flexible for an iRAM. So as we all know, everything has its disadvantages. So we'll talk about disadvantages of iRAM. So there are three cons: completely new architecture, high cost of testing, non-upgradability of memory, and overheating. So completely new architecture. The technology is completely new, and for it to thrive, we will have to discard the old pattern technology, which is what we have to do if we need to incorporate iRAM for our future. Second, high cost of testing. A processor is a very major part, and adding that in chipset increases the cost of as well as the time testing. Non-upgradability of memory and overheating. RAM chips are embedded into the iRAM, hence we will not be able to alter the memory further. That's for sure, that's the truth. Overheating of the iRAM because of less space is available. As we all know that the board area that an iRAM consists of is very less. That's why overheating is natural but to cause. So let's go ahead. Now we'll talk about applications of iRAM in the real world. Some real world applications of iRAM. Intelligent video game, intelligent VDA, intelligent disk, scalable low cost data server clusters, low cost teraflops clusters. I'll be explaining each one of them to you. So intelligent video game, an iRAM combining the processor, graphics accelerator and 4 to 16 megabytes of memory could exploit the orders of magnitude in memory bandwidth and small board area. Advantages of iRAM to offer an attractive chip for the next generation of systems. Basically, it means that it provides good processor, good graphics, as it has 4 to 16 megabytes of memory which can be exploited in order to magnitude the memory bandwidth. Second, intelligent VDA. An iRAM with efficient performance and 4 to 16 MB of memory to hold the dictionary when combined with the advantages of energy efficiency and small board area could be an attractive building block for the next generation of VDAs. VDA is nothing but like it's like camp scanners that we use nowadays. So it will be vital for VDA. Third, intelligent disk. An attractive chip for disk manufacturers might be a lower power iRAM with 4 to 16 MB of memory for disk caches, networking flow, plus serial input output for the interface to disk and local area network. Basically, intelligent disk means a disk which manages everything by its own and has 4 to 16 MB of memory at least for disk caches and networking code, and also the serial input. It should work basically on serial input interfaces and obviously local area network. Scalable low-cost data server clusters. Combining intelligent disk with an iRAM cluster might need to scalable processing for data mining that can keep up with Greg's law. I'll not be discussing what Greg's law means at a fraction of the cost of the lower disk. Oops. Sorry. Yeah. So basically means it offers scalable low-cost data server clusters. Clusters is nothing but basically more than two machines combined together is known as clusters. And scalable means that we can scale it to any level we want. Last but not the least, low cost teraflops cluster. The smaller memory and higher input output bandwidth of the iRAM cluster might be attracted for supercomputing. So like for basically teraflops is a unit that we use for supercomputing. So basically, the smaller memory and the higher input output bandwidth that an iRAM offers, it might be the most attractive feature for supercomputing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you from my side. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.